Kansas City Chiefs versus Las Vegas Raiders reaction video. So look, this Kansas City Chiefs versus Raiders game, a lot of people nationally thought that this was going to be a Chiefs, maybe not a rout, but they thought that the Chiefs would easily win this. By the time the game started, I believe the Chiefs were 7.5-point favorites. A lot of people looked at that first loss as a Chiefs maybe underestimating the Raiders, and maybe they did underestimate the Raiders the first time. But, I was looking at this game thinking the Chiefs were not going to underestimate the Raiders the second time, and they still got punched in the face. I thought that this game was very much a continuation of the last game. Now, the Raiders handled the Chiefs earlier in the season. The game, the score was 40-32, so you can think of that 8-point game as a one-score game. But really, the Chiefs scored kind of late in that game. The Raiders handled the Chiefs in Kansas City. Kansas City coming off the bye week. Andy Reid's very good off the bye, especially against the cover. He always covers spreads off the bye week, but this was not the case. The Raiders did cover this game, and that's indicative of people still not really, at least in terms of sports books, not really respecting the Las Vegas Raiders. I do love the Raiders, though, because they always cover. Dating back to a couple of years, they always cover. I like the way John Gruden calls a football game. I'm going to talk about the last drive, though, in just a bit. Now, the Raiders, they fall to 6-4. The Cleveland Browns have taken a one-game lead on them in terms of wild card. They are 7-3. You have other talented teams at 6-4. They include the Baltimore Ravens, the Miami Dolphins. I believe the Tennessee Titans are also in that group. So there's a lot of competition for what will be the last two spots in the playoffs, and really all three wild card spots. They're going to be up for grabs. Let's take a look at the Raiders' schedule. Again, 6-4. The next two games are on the road against the Falcons. Don't overlook the Falcons. I know the Saints, with Taysom Hill and not Drew Brees, handled them. The Saints defense does step up when Brees is off the field. We saw it last year. However, the Raiders did beat the Saints at full strength. Well, mostly full strength. Michael Thomas wasn't there earlier in the year. They should be able to beat the Falcons, but that is a trap game, and the Falcons offense can score points. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but the Raiders will probably handle it. Gruden will have them ready to go. So let's call that a win. That would take them to 7-4. They play the Jets. That is going to be a win. I don't care. The Jets, they're decent against the run, but they're not going to be able to stop the Raiders' run. Then they turn to 8-4. They play the Colts. I believe that the Colts will do a nice job stopping the run, even though the Raiders have them at home. I think that's a dangerous game. Let's call it 8-5. But then they can beat the Chargers. That's 9-5. They play the Dolphins. That's going to be a massive one for the playoffs. And then they play the Raiders. So I think you're looking at 10-5. Plus or minus what happens with that Dolphins game. I believe the Raiders still get in the playoffs. Maybe the 6th seed, maybe the 7th seed. Heck, maybe as good as the 5 seed there in the playoffs as well. So Raiders, I think, still very safe. This one hurts a little bit, though, because if they're at 7-3 with that remaining schedule, they're waltzing, they're moonwalking into the playoffs. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, they improved, to 9-1 now. Obviously, the Steelers are ahead of them in the playoff race, and because the Steelers continue, and I looked at the Steelers in the reaction video today for that Steelers-Jaguars game, I looked at the Steelers' schedule. It looks pretty good. They look like a 14-2 team at worst at this point. So the Chiefs need to basically run the table if they want to have a decent shot at the number 1 seed. Maybe they can lose one game, but let's take a look at the schedule. They have the Buccaneers next week. The Buccaneers have an interesting matchup with them. That's going to be a fun game to watch. Then they got the Broncos. That's a winnable game. Then they got the Dolphins. It's an interesting game, but the Chiefs should be able to handle them based on some things we've seen, especially this week against the Broncos. They have the Saints. Will Brees be back by then? That's a month from now? He should be back by then. If the Saints need that game, he could be back. Then they got the Falcons and Chargers. So let's call the Falcons a win, the Chargers a win. Let's call the Dolphins and Saints. Let's say they split those games. So they're at 3-1. Broncos gives you 4 wins. Bucs maybe give you a 5th win. So I'd say they're 4-2, 5-1 to end the year. That makes them a 14-2 or a 13-3 team as they get in the playoffs. Is that going to be good enough to unseat the Pittsburgh Steelers right now for the number 1 seed and the lone bye in this year's playoff format? I don't know. Let's talk about the game. That last drive was interesting. Speaking for the Raiders, not for the Chiefs, not their winning drive. I'm talking about the Raiders. They get the ball with 6 minutes left. And I see that they're down They're down by 4. And I'm thinking, oh man, this is tailor-made for the Raiders. This is what they've been doing. Again, since I've really been keying in on the Raiders as one of my favorite teams to bet on during the week. I will admit, Raiders fans, you people who follow this channel, I did pick the Chiefs off the bye week to cover the spread. Stupid me. The Raiders always cover. I get it. Go ahead and comment below. Tell me how much of a moron I am. I get it. But Patrick Mahomes goes 34 of 45, 348 yards, Only 2 touchdowns, which is interesting, but there were 3 running touchdowns today. Edwards-Helaire had 2. LeVeon Bell had 1. Edwards-Helaire had 14 carries, 69 yards, and 2 touchdowns. LeVeon Bell, 7 carries, 25 yards, 1 touchdown. Edwards-Helaire has 4.9 yards per carry. That's the big one, right? What I find interesting is in that last drive, by the way, for the Kansas City Chiefs, the one they did score in, they had Darrell Williams on the field. Like, what the heck? Why do you have your slowest, least skilled running back on the field when you're trying to take over the game? So the Kansas City Chiefs, their offense is doing fine. But back to that drive, the 6-minute drive, I thought, man, the Raiders, they're just going to run the ball down the throats of Kansas City, and I think they could have done that, but they scored too quick. And I think once they put that ball back in Kansas City's hands with that kind of time, I thought, the defense. Look, I thought the defense played fine. Kansas City was playing really good football. The Raiders were playing really good football. So I see 35-31. Sometimes you see 2 bad teams playing. You're like, oh gosh, it sucked. But look, man, I think the Raiders were getting the Chiefs' best shot today. I really do. I mean, they ran the ball. They had 3 rushing touchdowns, another 2, 5 touchdowns. But the Raiders, I think, still played okay. But we know that the Raiders defensively is that's the Achilles heel of this team right now. So when they didn't run Josh Jacobs continuously, Derek Carr playing some great football. He goes 23 of 31, 275, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. That pick at the end of the game there. Josh Jacobs, 17 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Raiders fans, please comment below. Did he have a stinger? That 6-minute drive I'm talking about where he kind of left the field? I thought they were just going to bludgeon Kansas City. He leaves the field. I know he comes back into the game. But after that is like they were throwing. I know it's available, and hell, they scored. So what does it matter, right? But again, they scored a little bit too quick. I thought the Raiders were just going to punch Kansas City, just dives and just right up the middle, run it up the middle, run out the clock, score with like 30 seconds left, and Kansas City wasn't going to be able to do anything. And they just, again, left a little bit too much time on that clock. By the way, Kansas City Chiefs fans, comment below. What in the heck is going on with the defensive line? Don't line up in the neutral zone. What are you jumping for? What are you lining up in the neutral zone? It's like they were trying to play center for the Raiders. Give me a break. That's just bad football, guys. Come on. I know you're aggressive, but come on, Chiefs. Chiefs fans, you got it. I mean, be honest, that was bad. That was bad news. Back to the Raiders stats. Let's see. Receiving-wise, Nelson Agholor, 6 receptions, 88 yards and a touchdown. Darren Waller, 7 receptions, 88 yards and a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow, 2 receptions, 37 yards. No touchdowns, but one of his catches was really big, I thought, at least in terms of momentum shift. Jason Witten gets a touchdown as well right at the end of that game there. Great effort, Raiders. I mean, it's not a bad loss to see them go toe to toe. I will say this: if these 2 teams meet in the playoffs, and heck, I think you probably have like a 50-50 shot of that happening with the way these 2 teams are playing and the way the matchups are going to go. Okay, maybe not 50-50, maybe like 25% chance. Pick the Raiders to cover because they know what Kansas City's doing defensively, and they have an answer for it everywhere offensively. They know what Kansas City's trying to do offensively. Do they have answers for it? No, but Kansas City needs to play a clean game. Let me get back to the receiving stats for Kansas City since I didn't mention them. Let's see. Travis Kelce goes 8 for 127 and a touchdown, specifically that touchdown at the end of the game. Puts them ahead. Tyreek Hill goes 11 catches on 14 targets, 102 yards and a touchdown. Now, when we see teams play the Chiefs, usually they try to take Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. Nobody's taking Travis Kelce away this year, though. We haven't really seen Tyreek Hill explode like this. This is probably like his biggest game, although it was only 102 yards, not a huge one. Demarcus Robinson, 6 receptions, 44 yards, no touchdowns. Darrell Williams, like I said. I'm sorry, you have Le'Veon Bell now. Darrell Williams doesn't need to be in the field there. Byron Pringle, I will say this. If Le'Veon Bell doesn't know the blocking assignments yet, I guess there's a point for that, and maybe Edwards-Helaire can't handle that, but gosh, you got to have your skilled players in there. And Darrell Williams, I'm sorry, I like him, and I did at the beginning of the season, but you got Le'Veon Bell now, man. He needs to be acclimated there. McCole Hardman, Byron Pringle add some catches, but nothing to write home about. And this McCole Hardman versus Demarcus Robinson thing is like it just goes week to week. When people ask me in fantasy football, should I start McCole Hardman? I say, well, flip a coin, man. It's a roll of the dice every week. Who's going to get there? And Sammy Watkins isn't even in the lineup at this point. Demarcus Robinson, it should have been McCole Hardman getting more of these targets and everything, but Demarcus Robinson, 3rd on the team in targets, 8 targets, 6 catches, 44 yards. So there you go. Raiders fans, Chiefs fans, comment below. What do you think? If these 2 teams matched up again in the playoffs, what do you think will happen? And obviously, if they won't match up, it will be in Kansas City. but both of these teams have beaten each other on the road. So what happens? Comment below. Raiders fans, tell me, how do you get better? It's the defense. I say this every week, as you know, Raiders fans. Chiefs fans, I got to be honest with you. I think the Steelers are playing better. I watch a lot of games, a lot of teams every week. I think the Steelers are playing better. Tell me why that's not true. I know Super Bowl pedigree. I know if this was the playoffs, it would be a different story. But hey, man, I'm going to be doing my power rankings. I'm going to be putting the 10-0 Steelers ahead of the 9-1 Kansas City Chiefs. Tell me why I'm wrong. Anyway, there's my reaction video. I do a couple reactions throughout the week, so check them out. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you again soon.